story time. When I finished my undergraduate degree and I had applied to graduate school, I got a job working for a tuning company. It was Australian based, and now I'm back in Australia, so it felt like it's time to tell the story, my villain origin story of how I came to be. This is a beautiful city, by the way. Sydney is, the entire population of Australia is the same population of LA County. I know it sounds like Miami right now, but nobody's here. It's all closed. Okay, so I work for this tuning company, and I flew to Australia to learn how to tune from their tuner. And I should put all that in quotes because I wouldn't say he really knew what he was doing. Or the company. The company was one of the first tuning companies to be established, actually. It was in 1991. So when I got a job there, I was excited because I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I love cars. Loved cars. I still love cars. Who names shit here? It says Cockle Bay. Who? Cockle Bay? Alright, so I worked for this company. They initially said, look, our manager is quitting and our tuner's stealing, so we need you to replace both of these MFs. What the fuck? You heard that too, right? Okay, so I'm gonna explore. So what ended up happening is after I got hired, they sent me to Australia to learn how to tune, and then the manager quit, and as he quit, he drained the bank account and fled the country. And then the tuner, I don't want to name names, started working for a company that was now very famous, and they started in competition. So basically, I was handed the keys to a sinking ship. My boss, the owner of the company at the time, he called me and he said, I reckon it's over. And I said, well, what happens if I work for free? He's like, well, I can't stop you. So I worked for free for 3 months to save this company. This is in 2009. So meanwhile, the old manager reports the company to CARB, the EPA, and the old tuner talking bad shit on his ex-company, the company now that I'm running, and his old boss and all this stuff. So I had to every day I was fighting, and I don't like that. So after 3 months of struggling and sponsoring events and getting our name out there and doing all this shit pro bono, I had some money in the bank. So I called the owner of the company and I said, hey, can I get paid now? Because I've made some money. He asked me how much money we had in the account. I told him how much. And he said, okay, I'll call you back. And he calls me back and he's like, I'm going to get tickets to fly over. I need you to buy me this car. It's a silver Boxster S with red interior. And I'm going to fly over with my best mate, Brendo, who was a 15-year-old felon who was on parole. And he said that he's going to take Brendo down to Mexico. So I know the Epstein shit is popular now, but this 4-year-old man that I worked for, his best mate in the world is also a 15-year-old. I'll let you do the math on that. I won't fill in the blanks for you. So the thing is, I couldn't work for free anymore. I have bills, I had employees also, so I covered our expenses. And then because the business wasn't run well, it didn't have any business line of credit. So I tried to buy this bullshit car. I would never, by the way, silver Boxster S. Would never. So anyways, try to buy the car. I was young, so I didn't have credit either, so couldn't buy it. Car gets sold, so he calls me, and he's super excited. He's like, "So when can I come over?" And I was like, "Look, I tried. Everyone in the office tried actually, and we couldn't get it. Car was sold." And then he gets quiet, and then he tells me, "You're incompetent. You're this. You're that." And I was like, "Motherfucker, like, who are you talking to like that?" And then I realized like all this work I had done for this guy, like he gets to tell me if I get paid or not. You know what I mean? Like this is why I work for myself now. It's like I'm not gonna. Eventually, took a few more tries. Whereas I spent my entire 20s making other people rich. Where I figured out that I have to do it on my own. Um, but after that conversation, I had quit the job, and then every vendor for this company called me and said, "Please don't leave because we need you." Finally, someone is professional, answering the phones and doing things the right way. And I was like, "All right, I'll stay on briefly until you guys figure out he can figure out a replacement or whatever." Turns out I'm hard to replace. So I eventually quit permanently in 2011, I think 10 or 11. I think it was 11. And then I went to work for WiseTech, which they don't like people knowing, from what I understand. And initially I had sold them information on like, this is the tools that you need to tune Mercedes, and this is how you use the editing software. But it turns out it's pretty difficult. So they hired me in-house. And then when they kind of got a hang of things, they said sayonara to me. This is creepy as fuck. Look at this. I don't know who that old guy is. And that guy's throwing up gang signs. You see her third eye is open? Creepy. Oh God, drunk people. Get me away from this. Okay, so after that I had a business partner who I thought was my best friend, who ended up stealing everything that I made for 5 years. And then I started HD Tuning in 2017. So let me circle back. So when I came to Australia, I mean, this is really just a story of perseverance, but when I came to Australia to learn how to tune, I did not learn anything from my predecessor, from the master tuner. Nothing stuck, because he wasn't really interested in anything except manufacturing meth. It's a long story. I don't want to get into it. So I'd ask him a question. I'd be like, "Hey, what did you do to that file right there?" And he would just be silent for about 45 seconds before answering me. Timing, fuel. It's like, okay, nobody can learn like this. Nobody can learn like this. After like, I don't know, I was there for 2 weeks. Imagine, I was like, it's the first Christmas away from home. Like, I didn't have friends or family. I'm in a foreign country. I don't know anybody except my boss and my coworker. It was one of these buildings where the bottom floor is the office, second floor kitchen and living room, top floor 2 bedrooms. So the owner gave me his bedroom, which sounds like it's a nice deal, but it was not. He was what you would call a hoarder. It was so disgusting in there, like trash bags piled floor to ceiling, that I would sleep in my hoodie up zipped, and I would sleep like this so I don't touch anything, because it's never been cleaned ever. So I'm having a terrible time. Christmas rolls around. My coworker says, "Hey, you have 2 options. You go with the boss or you go with me." And the boss was like, "You should go with Bill because you guys are similar in age and you don't want to hang out with my family. I was like, yep, that sounds right. So Bill takes me to Christmas at his father's house. And then seemed like a nice enough guy. And then after Christmas, to me it would be lunch, but white folks eat really early compared to Persians. So the father and Bill are talking outside and like, hey, you're gonna go see your brother? He's like, yeah, we're going there next. And I was like, why isn't the brother here? If he's close enough to drive, for us to drive to. And then we hop in the car, a stolen, unregistered Skyline. And we pull up to a cemetery. We pull up to a cemetery, and I'm like, oh, that's why it was cryptic. His brother is dead. So I'll wait in the car, let him pay his respects, and then we'll, I don't know, make a pie. And then Bill walks into the cemetery. It's quiet for a minute or two. He comes out. He's like, are you coming? I'm like, oh, okay. And then I shuffle in, and then on the cemetery grounds, there was a shed, a brick shed. And when I walked in, I saw his brother, who had no teeth, and his brother's girlfriend, who looked similar. And again, I'm like this, don't want to touch anything, don't want to sit on a dirty needle. And fucking, look, I don't know how you feel about paranormal shit. On the wall, spray painted, look, and an arrow down. And I was like, hey, did you paint that? And he said, nope, we looked under the floor for drugs, we didn't find any. And I was like, yeah, naturally. Hey, can we get pizza? Let's get the fuck out of here. The thing is that Christmas is summertime here, so the door was open, but there's like a, whatever the fuck you call it, the second door, screen door. And the screen door is randomly opening and closing, and the dog they stole from somebody is losing its mind barking at the door. And I was like, can we go, please? So we go, I buy them pizza. I you know what I said? I said, I'll tell you what, I will buy you anything you want to eat for dinner, for Christmas, anything you can dream of. And their eyes got big and they said, can we have pizza? It's like, I'll buy you 5 pizzas. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's just go. So anyways, this is the purpose of the story, is when I come back from this Christmas thing, I had met some blokes in town that were friends of my boss, or acquaintances, I would say. They for sure wouldn't say friends. And they had heard an American was in town and had an interesting Christmas. So this guy that I had just met once calls me and says, you're coming to hang out with us on New Year's. So he bought me, like I was like, no, it's okay, I'm okay, and blah blah. He's like, no, I'm buying you your ticket, I'm picking you up from the airport in Mildura, and you're hanging out with us. I'm not letting you stay there. And I was like, okay. So I fly out, I have a great time. I mean, these people didn't know me. They just heard foreigners in their country, and they, I guess they knew what kind of person my boss was. So they just stuck their neck out for me. They let me stay with them. Showed me a great time. Like, completely changed my opinion of Australia, because I had only met criminals and convicts and deviants at that point, like the founders of the country. So we drive back to Melbourne, but on the way we stop at a place called Swan Hill, and that's where my friend, who I'm referring to in the story, that's where my friend's dad lives. He's a farmer, and he was a very smart man, but he was uneducated. His name is Ross. Was Ross. He died recently. But basically the stranger invited me into his home, like fed me and protected me from the bad elements around. And when I had gone with my friend to meet his dad, we sat at the kitchen table and we talked till 5 in the morning. And he was just telling me about politics. He talked about trees. There's something I remember. He's complaining about how strict Australia is. Like, you can't remove or change where a gumdrop tree is. Someone came door to door. Some bid came to the door and said, "Save the gumdrop trees." And he's like, "Do you know how many gumdrop trees were here when I came here in 1970 whatever?" She's like, "No." He's like, "Fucking one. Fucking one." So, I mean, everything they say in Australia is magical. They really have a way with words. If the dog wasn't there, he'd fuck the chain. So I was like, his dad is like it's like a superhero. He's like a mythical creature. This guy had so many crazy things, crazy stories. Simple man, farmer, but very smart. He used his money wisely. He started buying the buildings in his town. I believe he owned the bank and the Walmart were renting from him. So he would say that he's dumb, but it was to throw you off because he was a very smart man. And I regret not coming to visit sooner while he was alive, because there's never going to be another one like him, you know? So Australia has a special place in my heart. This family I'm referring to has a special place in my heart. It's kind of where I got started. It's where everything changed for me. So coming back now and feeling like, you know, I got a message. A few months back, someone messaged me randomly and said, "Would you consider moving to Australia?" And I was like, my life's in Orange County, no. But then as I thought about it, I was like, well, I mean, maybe. I was like, maybe. Like, I don't have a foothold here, but I don't think there's any good tuners here either. And then when I was in Japan, I think it was when I just got to Japan last week, I was answering an email to 2 different Australian inquiries. And then I got another message from someone the guy that I flew here to tune his car, actually. And then I kept seeing the number 333, and I was like, okay, I feel like the universe is telling me that I should come to Australia. Maybe it's time to expand my horizons and put a foothold in this continent. So tomorrow, without a plan really, I'm going to visit the performance shops here in Sydney. I'm going to at the end of the week tune the cars that I have to tune, that I have scheduled. But I'm just going to go wherever the wind takes me. And hopefully at the end of this trip I have time to go see my friend and his family. And yeah, I mean, there's not many people in the world that would do that for a stranger. So there's no way I can come this far and not see them, you know? So even if I have to extend the trip, I will, because that family did a lot for me when I was here. So that's the story of Australia. That's the story of the company's called Powerchip, by the way. It was called Powerchip. And when I quit, it went under. So surprise. So it's been a rocky road to get back here. I've obviously been to Australia to visit before, but or since, but I haven't come for work because I was kind of traumatized, I guess. So I'm here to visit this beautiful place, visit beautiful people, and then hopefully find an excuse to keep coming back. Hope you enjoyed my story time. Bye bye.